and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I decided I'm gonna do another makeup Christmassy tutorial for you. I've already done like the classic one, you know, with the red lip and the glitter eye, the gold glitter, classic. But today I decided to do something that's pretty much the opposite. So we're gonna do a more frosty look, so you have a bit of a pick and choose on which one you want. So it's gonna be silver tones rather than gold. It's gonna be blues. That's why I got my blue jumper on today, so we are fitting the aesthetic of today. But just before we dive into that, please do subscribe. If you are new here, I do post content quite regularly, pretty much every week, and please do like this video if you like this video, and let's get straight into it. I like to do my eyes first, and so that's what we will start off with. The key part of a good eye look is an eye primer. Now you can use your concealer if you don't have an eye primer, but they don't tend to perform as well as an actual eye primer, and the one that I like to use is the e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer, and I'm using the shade White today. And in case you didn't know, white bases are much better for when you want to do eye looks with a bit of colour in them. So because I am doing some blue today, I thought a white would be much better than my rosy one, because it just makes it stand out. It creates a nice bright but clear base. So I will just quickly do that with my absolutely scuffy brush. I do need to wash that. And then when I do this, I like to put it on the inner part of my lower eye as well, because we are going to put some like shadows and that there, so it just prepares it for that as well. I tend not to be fussed about making this the neatest, just because, I mean, it's just the base, isn't it? So it doesn't have to be the neatest. Also, with the products I'm showing today, you don't have to stick with the exact same ones that I'm using. Of course, use what you have. If you don't have the e.l.f. primer, then you can use a completely different eye primer. Just showing you the general baseline of what I'm doing. The eyes are officially primed, so let's get into basically the main part of the show. I am going to only be using one palette today, and I'm going to be focusing on this NYX Ultimate Vintage Jean Baby, and it's a very good palette because it does have a lot of the variety of shades I need for today. So you do have like the kind of browns, and then you got like the more pinky browns, the blues, and they are it's completely stacked full of shimmers. And I don't know if you've tried the NYX palettes, like the new ones, the Ultimate palettes, but their shimmers are just... As someone who doesn't really have a love for glitter and don't have access to things like the Mitchell, what are they called? Drips? Or is that a shade? I don't know, I just see that everywhere. But this is basically an identical copy, and you get it in a ton of like other shades and other shimmers, so I think that's actually quality. But this is what we're using today. Now I will preface this by saying it's not a beginner's look, but it's also not too hard either, because it's going to be a bit smoky. So either way, it's, do you know, it's like middle ground. So even if it's a bit messy, it's absolutely fine. Like, that's a part of what we're doing today. But I'm going to start by taking this lighter blue shade, if I can get it. I'm going to start off by taking this lighter blue shade right there, and I'm going to make basically a V along my eye. Also, top tip, whenever you're doing any eyeshadow, any eye makeup, always look forward and do it, because if you look down, then it's not going to be the same as when you look up, especially if you have hooded eyes. So that's very key. So I'm looking straight ahead at my mirror. I'm going to do a V formation, so flicking out. If you haven't done like a V before in your eye, what I like to do is go from the end of your actual eye and then take it all the way to the tail of your eyebrow. So just do that. And then just about, I'd say midway from your crease to your eyebrow, so here-ish, you want to start dragging it along the top. Now you don't want too much eyeshadow for this, like at the starting point, just because if something does go wrong, you can go back over it easily, or like you can hide it easier. So I like to start off with just a tad. So now we have that basic shape, I'm gonna go in with a bit more pigment, just make it more colourful, pigmented, I don't know, just add a bit more on. Honestly, if you have not tried the Ultimate palettes, you really do need to. They're so, so good. So we have that shape now, and I'm going to do it on my other eye. Here are both the general outline of my shape we're going to do today and the colour. And this is kind of the longest process of today, but we are going to blend it out. So I am going to take the same brush, but I'm just going to like make sure I've got like no colour on it really. What I'm going to do is go in gentle like circular motions just on top of where I put the blue and just blend it out. But you don't want to go too blended because then it will just disappear, so just slight circular motions just to make sure it's all blended, not really patchy. I'm going to take a bit of this white, not too much because you don't want to diffuse a lot of the colour, and gently again circular motions go over where you just did the like blended part. Also, if you do feel like you have blended it too much or you've gone like very low, you can go back in with that blue shade. You just have to kind of repeat the process just slightly, but obviously you don't have to blend it out as much. I'm going to call this the base blue. So the base blue is done, and we're going to go in with a darker blue now. We're going to darken it up. If you don't want to, then of course you don't have to. Throughout this whole look, you don't have to follow every step, but this is just what I'm going to do today. And I'm going to go in with this dark blue shade here. Again, taking the same little flat brush as before. Picking up slightly just because you don't want to make a big mistake and then your eyes are just like black and blue. You want to turn up to this party nice and frosty, but not like you've got pneumonia sort of frosty, you know, like frostbite. We don't want frostbite. And all I'm going to do is put that on the, I wouldn't say on the underneath, but like on the bottom of where you put the blue shade from before. Again, you want to be very, very gentle. So my biggest tip at this stage is just to be patient. They always say bigger is better. Not in this case. You do not want to follow that. At this point, it's less is more, because you can always build up, but if you start off with too much, then it's always usually very, very hard to diffuse it. It's like kind of what I say about being hot. You find it a lot harder to cool down, but if you're cold, you find it easier to warm up. I've finished with the dark blue now, and before you say you can't do it because you have hooded eyes, you can absolutely do it. You just have to adapt it. Go higher than your eyebrow crease. What is there an official name for that? I just call it a crease because it is a crease. That's what it's going to be called if not. What we want to do now is smack on the glitter, but first I'm going to clean it up slightly, like on the inner part, because you know it goes everywhere. Your main ingredient for these are cotton buds and micellar water. You can do this other ways, but this is mainly what I do just because it's the only things I have. So I just do it like that. I was very brave. I did that above my keyboard. And then with the micellar soaked cotton bud, I am just going to gently brush over where I had parts of eyeshadow that I didn't want to be. And you have to be extremely gentle and soft with this part, because especially if you have packed that full of micellar water, it can just spew everywhere and then you've just got micellar water all over your eye, and you don't want that, especially because it will just ruin all the pretty hard work you've just done. So we just want to be nice and slow and gentle. Also, don't worry if it's taking off your eye primer. It's going to, but we are going to put some more back on afterwards. I'm going to go slightly above my crease just because I have slightly hooded eyes and I want everyone to see that I have gorgeous glittery lids. If I bring it up slightly, then it's going to create the illusion of another crease in my eye. So like if I just look forward, you can see here I've lifted it up slightly. It just creates a nice illusion. Another benefit of looking forward rather than down. Everything is all cleaned up now, and you can go in with a bit of concealer to make it more sharper, but I'm not really fussed because this is a smoky eye, so I'm not really fussed about like preciseness and like cleanliness really. Well, you be clean, but I mean like you can make mess is what I'm trying to say. Don't be dirty. I can't talk today. But next is the best part of this whole look, I think, and we are gonna delve into the glitters. I think I'm gonna use 3 today. I'm gonna use probably this deep shimmery blue. It is such a gorgeous shade, and I actually haven't used it yet, so I'm excited to use that. I'm going to also use this one here, which is the grey shimmer I mentioned earlier, and then just a little bit of this white as well, this one up here. They're all such stunning shades and shimmers, and I can't wait. For these shimmers, they are not the type where you have to use your finger and it creates like a more pigmented like sheen. You can use a brush with this, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just using this flat like squarish brush, and I'm going to start off with that shimmery blue shimmery blue shimmer, and it does have bits of purple specks in it, which I think is so lovely. And what I'm going to do with this is just place it on the outer part of my eye. So literally just in this corner. And then as soon as you put it there, you just want to gently brush it across. So then it creates a seamless transition from this shimmer to the next shimmer. I was a bit nervous at first because I couldn't really see the pigment, but now that I've laid it up just slightly, it does look really, really lovely. I'm not sure if you can see the shimmer, but my camera never really picks up when I absolutely love makeup and when it looks really nice. So hopefully it does, I'm not sure. I am experiencing a slight tad bit of fallout, but for me, I'm not fussed personally, just because I can clean it off afterwards with a bit of micellar water. Do you see how the deep blue that we put down just after the lighter one creates a nice bit dimension for the shimmers? See, that's what it's all for, guys. Oh, it looks so lovely. I'm gonna go in with the same brush now into the I was about to say golden, the grey shade, and whacking that in the middle part of my eye and then slightly over, of course. This is what we came for, that silver shimmer. And I'm going to put it about the inner, like, I'm doing it in thirds, essentially, but the grey is slightly more than a third. It will make sense when I show you. I don't know if you can see it, but if you're following along, if you tilt your head from side to side, you can see that nice shift of that bluey purpley shimmer into the grey, and I think it's so stunning. Again, taking the same brush, I'm going to dust it off a little, kind of like Bob Ross in a way. Now taking that golden, why do I keep saying golden? There's no gold in this look. Taking the sparkling white glitter and putting that just in the last space on my eyelid. This white shimmer has a bit more chunks in it, so I always leave this for like more the inner corners, because it's nice to put in your like actual inner corners at the end once you've done your base. I have wiped my face off with all of that glitter and shimmer that was on my face, just with a bit of micellar water and a reusable face cloth. And we're going to go on to the base really quickly. It's going to be quite quick. Use any primer you want. I'm going to use my Benefit Professional Primer. This never fails me at all. I do recommend this if you are an oily gal. Of course, it is quite a bit more expensive. There are cheaper options. I'll leave them around my head. I got it for Christmas, like, you know, in those Benefit gift sets. So I would never buy that myself just because of the money, but it is a really good product. As I said, the only thing with it is just the price, but I think if you do really want to look into trying it, then the gift sets are the greatest options, because they're like £40-ish for 4 Benefit products, and usually that's the cost of like 2. So I think that's always the way to go about it. Moving on to concealer next, and I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me. This one is in the shade 08. Now for this, you can use foundation, of course. I don't really like to use a foundation unless it's like a really good foundation. I don't like to feel things on my skin, which is ironic considering this is a makeup account. I have a bit of sensory issues, so that's what's happening there. Concealer always seems to be like fine for some reason. We don't question me. That's the one thing that we should learn from this. And then just gently blending that out, and I'm using the Real Techniques brush. This is 242. I believe it is their concealer brush, and I think this is such a good concealer brush. It blends it so quickly, so easily, and it feels really nice. To be honest, at first I thought it did feel very prickly, just because the way it's angled, it's like there's bristles at the end of every angle, it feels like. And I did feel a bit like, oh, just because I do have sensitive skin. Now that I've basically worn it down and it's got makeup all on it, it's softened it, which is really weird. Because usually you'd think it's the opposite, but it's really not. Now, of course, as I keep repeating, you're probably shouting at me to, like, shut up. I am using a powder bronzer. You can use your contour, you don't even have to put bronzer, you can have a bit of blush. I have been a blush girl lately, but because it is kind of a more cool frosty vibe we're going for today, I'm just sticking with bronzer. I have the lid here, and this is the NYX matte bronzer, and this one is in the shade medium. For this, I'm taking like a curved, like slanted brush. It's nice because it's quite big, so it covers my face very quickly. I was trying to use my bronzer as a mirror. I'm not going to get very far with that, am I? And working that on your face. I learned a trick recently where if you brush upwards, it makes it look more airbrushed. Of course, you don't have to do that. It's just something I like to do. So I pat it, and then when the product is on there, I like brush upwards. I don't know. This is what some of the professionals say, and I'm not a professional, so you gotta listen to them sometimes. Now just using a bit of a domed, smaller brush and bronzing up my nose slightly. Basically contouring it with bronzer, so a bronzed contour. I just like the illusion of having a button nose. All noses are cute. Now, before I completely powder my face, I do like to take this small little powder brush and I like to gently place it under my eyes, and then also to create that more airbrushed, blended, like just got off the catwalk, you know, how we all like to pretend to be. I like to gently press it and then like do a little zzz, you know, and it just creates a more seamless transition between both your face and your cheek. And then using the same brush and powder just to blend out my nose contour slightly. And taking a massive brush and just powdering my face with that. Right, now we truly need to turn into the Ice Queen and we need to do our highlights. I'm not sponsored by NYX or anything, I just love NYX. If you've watched my channel for a while, you know I have a weird obsession with NYX. It's pretty unhealthy, but I am using another NYX product, and this is the Jumbo Highlight, and this one specifically is in Vanilla Ice Cream. I have done a video on the Jumbo. Oh, I just got a chunk out of it on my lid. I have done a video on these jumbo sticks if you are interested, but I'm just gonna rub a little bit on the highlight points, a bit under my eyebrow, my nose, and then blend it. This is such a lovely highlight. All of them are. I really want to try the one where it's, I think it's coconut. And if you are looking into these, they are more of a heavier, not heavier, but it's not natural. It's a nice shimmery glitter, I would say, but it is absolutely lovely. I don't know if you can see it there, but it is very nice. I have gone a bit overboard on the glitter today, but it's fine. It's Christmas. It's what it's all about. On to brows next, and what do you know? I'm using a NYX product. So this is the micro brow pen, and this one is in the shade Ash Brown. Again, I'm repeating myself, but I do like to use a lighter brow product because if you use a darker colour, then it just makes your eyebrows really, really dark. So I tend to go for one shade or two shades lighter. And trust me, if you haven't tried it yet, it's a really, really good technique. So just gently filling them in. I have been unintentionally growing them out, so they are looking a bit wild right now, but it's fine. We'll attempt to get them under control. We want those eyebrows to stay in place, so use a bit of your brow gel. I'm just using the Studio London Boss Brow Gel. It looks absolutely nasty. Don't ask questions. I've just used it a lot to filth, to the bone. And it's literally on its deathbed right now. And there we go, that is the base done. So we're moving back on to the eyes, and I am going to start off with that lighter blue shade again. So just taking it on my brush, and I'm going to put this on the mid to beginning part of my eye. So here, I'm going to be quite gentle about this. And then using the same brush and with the deeper blue, so the one we used from before, down here, putting that on the outer part of my eye. You just need a tiny bit, you don't need a lot, because then otherwise you will look like you got punched in the face. Then I am taking remember I put the white on it to blend it out. I'm going to do the same again, but this time I'm not going to put any white on it just because it's already had a bit of product on it. You don't want to overdo it. And blending underneath that. Now the last eyeshadow I'm going to put on my eye is using this Domi like flat brush, and I'm again taking the white shimmer shade from before and putting that on my inner corner, as I said from before. Doing this just tends to open up the eye so much more. I don't know if you can tell the difference there, but I just love doing this so much. And I'm just going to drag a bit on the underneath of my inner corner. And that's the eyeshadow done. From this point you can add some lashes or eyeliner, but I think I'm going to keep it there. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but something went wrong with my files. I did put on my mascara, and it is the Bourjois Twist Up in the Volume Bar Booster Mascara, and it is a 2-in-1 mascara, so you can twist it. It's like a shape-shifting one, so that's the first one, supposedly meant for volume. And if you twist it like this, I'm not sure if you're seeing this, but it does change into an entirely different wand. I have finished my Lash Sensational mascara, so I thought I'd start trying my other mascaras I've collected, so that's why I have started a new mascara, and I'm not using my trusty Lash Sensational mascara. I did explain all this in my other clip, but something went wrong. I have no idea what. So we're on to the last part, which is the lips. Now you can do absolutely anything for lips. You can do lipstick, lip oil, just a combination of like stylo lips, and different colours as well. You can go for a red, or you can go for like a pink, a brown. Basically you can do pretty much anything, but I believe I'm gonna stick, I am going to stick with the brown today, and I'm not going to do too much just because my eyes are so heavy and like a lot and dark. So I am going to use another NYX products. Now this is the NYX Fat Oil Lip Drip, and this one is in the shade Status Update. I am absolutely in love with the fat oils. I'm never usually a fan of like oils or glosses just because, you know, I have a lot of sensory issues, and so that tackiness feeling is just horrid to me. But with these, I've genuinely been loving them. Even when I'm having more low-key days, it provides just a hint of colour, and it smells nice, and it's so lovely. And that is what I'm gonna use today. You see the difference between my top and bottom lip. So it does have a slight tinge of colour, but it's such a nice like tinge of colour. It's not too much, not too little either. It's so nice. And the doe foot. I found out how you actually say that the other day, and I was really shocked. It's nice and big, so you can do it like pretty quickly, which I love, and it just feels so nice and hydrating. So this is the look completed. We have a nice frosty, like cold bluish silvery makeup look. You don't have to do this either, you don't have to do anything, but this is just another option if you prefer something rather than the red lip and the gold shimmer. So it's just something different, isn't it? I hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment anything else you want to see, and don't forget to like if you liked this tutorial, and I will see you all in the next video.